So astrology only seems to work in a geocentric model. This is what was always understood, but I'm going to be looking into it a little bit more and really explaining, how confusing it is on a heliocentric model. And you guys have probably already picked up on this a little bit if you've looked into it, but basically, if you subscribe to astrology, you have to at least consider the geocentric model. So, looking into it a little bit, let's just looking at Virgo. We look out, we see this constellation, we see all the stars here, and it just kind of appears all together, right? But these stars are not next to each other. Some are faint, some are a little bit brighter. The ones that are faint are actually further away. But how further away? How much further? So, a lot of these larger stars, or some of the main stars, rather, I have here. So, this is one of them. This is like Spica, or Spica, is about 260 light years away, according to wherever. Then we've got another one, is Beta Virginis, 35 light years away. So you got a couple different distances. And then we have, where was this one? 202 light years. So we got completely different distances here, right? So they're not equal distances to you. One's a little closer, one's a little further away. And mind you, these are stars, or suns, as they would like to tell you. And each one of these suns can have planets around it. Now remember, this constellation is shining its rays as one unit to us. All of these different stars make up this constellation and shine the ray to us that gives us what September babies have, introvertedness, inclination to service, helpful, analytical, those types. Basically everything that you would think of when you think of a Virgo. And everything, all of these stars are coming together and shining that one ray to Earth. Why not to the closer planets? See where I'm getting at here? It starts to not make much sense. So there we are, right? Apparently. It's about 100,000 light years. It's a long way. Here's where we are. And according to this, most of what we've already discovered, the planets, to date, way out with the Hubble telescope and whatever else, have been just a tiny 300 light years away from the sun. Right, so we have this little bubble, just tiny little bubble right here. So where would Virgo be? You just take a look at it. One's like 290 way out here. One's like 35 light years. And you've got another that's like about 200, I believe, is what it said. Yeah, 260, 35, and 200, about. Okay, so you've got right at the edge, this radius is 300 light years. So you got like almost 300. We got like 35. And then you've got something like 200. Now, mind you, this is a huge distance. In the grand scheme of things, yeah, sure, it's not that big, but this is, this is 300 light years. This is the constellation of Virgo right here. Not all the stars, but think of it this way, when we look from Earth, we don't see that they're far apart. We just see this. That's what we see. In actuality, it's more like this. So in this model, the main issue that I have with this is, why is it that all of these stars decide to cast their rays right here? And that's it. Why not to the closer planetary bodies, as it says? Most of the planets, we found multiple planets in this little bubble. So why don't these stars cast their rays and have their influence, on those planets? Why doesn't this one, if it has its own planets revolving around it, why doesn't it influence, that ray to those planets? And why doesn't this one go over here to the closer ones? Why do they all decide to just go to Earth? And you might say, oh, because it's the center of this circle. But remember, these are all their own suns. So you can draw a circle on any of those and make it the center. So why is it's all focusing in here? When you really start thinking about this, it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Not only that, but you have to ask the question, why is it that these random stars come together to form this constellation and make one energy, They're so far apart. So basically, what I'm getting at is, if you subscribe to astrology and the heliocentric model, then what you're saying is you've got these stars all over the place, not even really close to each other, that somehow come together to create a similar energy and all shine it, or direct it to the Earth, to this one point. And then you've got Capricorn, Scorpio, etc., all over the place. And why isn't it that they aren't influencing other planets? And you might say, oh, they are, but how is that possible? You could try and justify it, but it really makes more sense on a geocentric model. We have a certain amount of influence coming from these suns or stars, so wouldn't it give more influence to the planets closer to it? I mean, I don't know. Let me know what you think, but it seems counterintuitive. All these different stars can have like their own zodiacs, and another planet like way over here could have its own ecliptic and its own zodiacs. Just like one of our signs of the zodiac can be a part of another sun's zodiac. So how does that work? How does it influence us and some other solar system? Some other star could go behind one of our own signs in some other solar system. Okay, I hope your head hasn't exploded yet. Now we're going to take a look at it in a more intuitive model. Okay, so now you have something like this. Does this not make more sense? What other options do these signs have than to cast their rays and to have their influence on our plane? If anything, it suggests that we are the center. And the way the universe works is that it's exactly as it appears. They revolve around us and they influence us. And that's the way it was always understood.